Presidential candidate Ron Paul got some star power this weekend when actor Vince Vaughn introduced him at a rally in Reno, Nevada. This as the congressman beat out his colleagues in the latest Republican straw poll in California. Question: could the liberal Hollywood leopard change its spots to libertarianism? And how will Congressman Paul fare in this week's Florida straw poll? Here to discuss is a congressman who just came out in support of Ron Paul, Michigan Republican Congressman and Freedom Watch regular and friend Justin Amash. Congressman Amash, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Thanks, Judge. It's always my pleasure.
Depends on how you count them and who's actually in and who's out. Maybe 10, 12 Republicans actively vying or still considering vying for the Republican nomination for president, and very few office holders have actually taken sides. You have. You endorsed Ron Paul, and you did so early on, just last week. Why Ron Paul, and why now, Congressman Amash?
Well, there's nobody in politics who I admire more. A few years ago, when I was thinking about running for Congress, I actually was invited out to Texas to spend some time with Ron Paul. We talked about my views, we talked about his views. He's always been a very strong supporter of the things that I'm doing, and I feel it's important that I show my support for him in this race. There's no greater champion of limited government, economic freedom, and individual liberty that we've had in politics in the past several decades.
Can you remember a time in your lifetime, Congressman Amash, where there is more animosity towards government, more yearning for small government, sound dollar? That government is best, which governs least, the government residing within the confines of the Constitution, than there is today?
I've never seen anything like it. It's a new era. I think the internet is changing a lot of things. Whereas a few years ago, maybe someone like Ron Paul or someone like me might not have received the same attention that we receive now. It's a new world, and we're able to get our message out to the people. And I felt it was important to come out in support of Ron Paul, to help spread that message even further. And I hope people will take a look at him and see that he is the man who represents the conservative principles that the Republican Party should be standing for.
When you say things like the Fed should be audited, or we really don't need the Fed, or we should go back to the gold standard, I mean, 10 years ago would have been you and Ron Paul alone saying it in the Congress. Now when you say it, there are dozens, and in some cases, hundreds of members of Congress, even some Democrats, that agree with you. How did that come about?
I think Dr. Paul has helped change the conversation. He's been speaking about these things for a long time. The Federal Reserve, our unnecessary wars that we've involved ourselves in that help increase our national debt, make things worse for our country, make things worse for the average person in this country. The message is spreading, but it's largely, I think, in the past few years when the internet has really allowed that message to flourish that it's taken place.
You are a champion of liberty, Congressman Amash. You voted to stop the president from an undeclared war in Libya. You voted against the Patriot Act. You voted against increasing the debt ceiling. How do you think your fellow Republicans, not you, your fellow Republicans will receive the president's two proposals in the last week? One to raise taxes on people earning more than $200,000 or $250,000, and today this so-called tax the rich proposal.
Well, I hope they'll see it for the gimmick that it is. I mean, a large portion of what the president is calling deficit reduction is so-called troop reductions when the troops were already going to be reduced. So it's a fake number. It's just an accounting gimmick. Really, what you have from the president is a proposal that increases taxes by about $1.5 trillion and cuts spending by maybe $500 billion. And so it's a non-starter as far as I'm concerned. There are portions of it we might take a look at, but as a package, as a total package, it's a non-starter.
Is it dead on arrival in the Republican House of Representatives this week?
I think so. As a total package, it's dead on arrival. I think there are bits and pieces we might look at, but really we need a whole nother approach. We need to reduce regulations on our industries and on individuals. We need to lower tax rates across the board. We need to get government out of our lives. We need to get government out of the system, out of controlling what we do every day. And that's how we're going to get economic prosperity in this country.
Congressman Justin Amash, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Judge.
If you want less of something,